The 2005 US Open Final was a match that took place between Andre Agassi and Roger Federer. It took place on September 11, and it was a great match. I chose this one really for two reasons. One is that I love these types of matches where there are players coming from two different generations colliding. In this case, Agassi was 35 years old at the time of this match, and Federer was 24. So Agassi was one of the top players of the 1990s. His career went all the way back actually to the late 80s, and then was arguably probably the second best player of the 1990s behind Pete Sampras. Won a total of 8 Grand Slams in his career, and he was facing Roger Federer, who was currently the #1 player in the world in 2005. And looking back, he was in the first half of his prime at this time. He had probably entered his prime in late 2003 or early 2004, and he had won 5 major titles by this point. So Federer was definitely #1 in the world, a force to be reckoned with, and Agassi was also still playing well. He was very fit and had made improvements to his games late in his career. So that was one reason. And the second reason is just the sheer um, mastery of shots that both of these guys had. These rallies that they had in this match were just so fun to watch. Um, Both power, precision, some artistry, some coming up to the net. So it was a fun match, both in those differences in age and styles. Um, and then just how great the match itself was. So Federer, just a little background, Federer reached the final and lost a couple sets along the way, but definitely was doing quite well. And Agassi was the 7th seed. So a slight surprise that Agassi had made it up to the final. He had a couple tough matches along the way, but he was only 2 years removed from his last major in 2003. So Agassi was definitely a player to still be taken very seriously, even at his 35 years old. And as you can see right off the bat in this match, he was definitely worthy of playing in the final. So the first set started with Federer serving. They both were able to hold serve through the first 5 games. And then in the 6th game, with Federer up 3-2, he broke Agassi. Um, and then technically, Federer went up 5-2, and then Agassi actually saved 3 set points and to bring it up to 5-3, and then he saved 4 more set points in the game. Federer ultimately won on the 8th set point of the match to bring it to 6-3. So Federer definitely won and I want to say dominated the set, but he was definitely had the clear advantage in the set. But still, with all those safe set points, it was showing that Agassi was putting up a great fight. I guess I would say the key advantage Federer had in this set was his forehand, because he was able to hit winners off his forehand on several occasions, even unexpectedly. He would just rip it up the line or across court. His backhand, I would say, was definitely not as strong as his forehand, but it was probably just as good as Agassi's backhand. And then I'd say overall his serve was the only shot that wasn't quite as good as his forehand. His serve was excellent, though. He could hit aces, and if you combine Federer's forehand with the serve, it's really, if he has them both cooking like he did in this set, even as great as Agassi played and as few mistakes as he made, it was still 6-3. He came up short. Um, One of the things that happens sometimes, I've found, when you play a player with either a great serve or a great forehand, it's just, and it probably happened to Agassi, you start to overdo it trying to play to this quote-unquote weakness that Federer had, which was his backhand. And it just becomes intimidating. It kind of takes you out of your game because you're not playing your normal game. You're trying to play to the other player's weakness. I find this to be hard to maintain. It might work in the short term, but if you keep doing it over and over, eventually the player will win even off of their weaker side. So I found that Agassi would hit it to Federer's backhand or forehand on cross-court shots and try to get him to reach out, but it was definitely a difficult shot to contend with for Agassi. So Federer ended up holding and breaking out, winning the first set 6-3, and then Agassi will start the second set serving first. So look forward to seeing the second set soon.